Hey, guess what? We are live.
Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning and welcome, Jerry. And we're talking about, you've been using referrals while you sleep now for almost 2 years. And I love your story because how many loan officers are in your company and where did you rank last year?
So as of the end of the year, there were 3,000 loan officers, and last time I looked, I was just outside the top 5%.
And how much outbound prospecting and phone calls do you make?
Well, it's a little embarrassing, but if I called you today, that would be one.
That's pretty impressive because I mean you've got systems that bring you business that put you in the top 5% basically of 3,000 loan officers.
Yeah, it's a combination of things. I've got a good sized database because I've been in the business a long time. But since I added referrals while you sleep, I'm so much more visible to my database without being uh, an encumbrance on them. I'm not sending them a ton of emails and stuff like that, but I'm still visible, and I'm sure it's helping.
Yeah. And yeah, I remember you had one of your clients, it was like a former builder that you hadn't talked to at all in a year or two.
Oh, cripes! I think it was probably close to 3 years.
Yeah. And so how did that work? How did you get that client?
So they don't say. I saw you on Facebook a whole bunch of times, very often. I'll get that mention from real estate agents. Occasionally, a customer will say, "Boy, I see you everywhere," but I just think that you know the visibility keeps me top of mind. And so when they do decide to do something, rather than calling their local bank or whatever, I think that, I just saw Jerry and he talked about this. I think that's a, a prompter for them to contact me.
So did he call you or text you or email you? Do you remember?
Um, I think he sent me an email. I don't remember for sure, but I
Yeah.
do believe it was an email saying, "Hey, I'm looking to do this," and so we were able to set up the application.
And since if you made an outbound call to me today, it would be your first one this year. It's fair to say, yeah. And I'm part of the hashtag no outbound calls. I'm part of that tribe. Um, you were in the top 5%, so that means all of them were inbound.
That is correct. Yes. The and the other thing is, I don't have a very big marketing budget. I don't do. We have a little local newspaper, and I did an ad in there just to support them. Last, well, it was about 3 papers ago. It was a weekly paper, and so I did an ad in there for $100 to support them. But other than that, I do not spend any money on lead purchases or anything like that.
Yeah. Um, Give me a little bit of the history of you've been in the business for a long time. You've managed big teams. Kind of just give us a brief history of like your progress and what you've learned along the way.
All right. Well, I was a real estate agent before I got into mortgage lending, and that's how I got into mortgage lending. A loan officer that I worked with was really good, and the first time that I worked with her, I thought, boy, I like her. She really knows what she's doing. And from doing a couple of transactions, she told her manager, and they recruited me, and that's how I got in the mortgage business. And so I was 6 months in their office here in Appleton, Wisconsin, and they promoted me to branch manager over in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I was at that stage officially one of the dumbest branch managers in the world because I had no background. There are interesting stories about things that I did not do correctly starting out there, but and that was me. And it was interesting because it was also the branch that processed all of the assumptions. That was way back in the day when you could assume loans. And so we did wraps and blends. And when I walked in the door, I had no idea what either of those things were.
Wow.
So grew that office from, and by the way, at this time, the average loan size in that office was around $40,000. And so in about 5 years, we'd added some loan officers doing about $100 million in annual production. And then I got recruited to move to another company, and they wanted me to be like an area manager for West Michigan. So I had everything west of I-75. And there was probably 60 or 70 people in my group at that stage, between support staff and loan originators and stuff. And then I moved back to Wisconsin, and I was managing in a bank office there. I had 5 locations that reported to me, and I wanted more freedom. So left there, started a small mortgage banking office, worked that up to about 7 or 8 loan originators, and then along came 2008, and a lot of people didn't make it in 2008 in the business, and so I decided, I'm kind of tired of the management thing, so I'm just going to do my own thing, and so here I am, just me, and I work with a loan officer assistant.
Yeah. What and so all your business, how did you know, all right, I want to work with people that are my sphere of influence, people that come to me, people that trust me. One of my friends says, one thing that a lot of people leave off is, of course, I want to work with people that know, like, and trust me. But the biggest thing is they also have to remember me, which is what Referrals While You Sleep does.
Right.
What clicked? What happened where you're like, this is the life, this is the business that I want?
So I've been part of the, excuse me, by referral only coaching group for a long time. And, that's their whole premise is, you work by referral. And so I always knew I liked that. And at a couple of times in the past, if the market was a little slow or something, I did some lead purchases, and I just didn't like that lifestyle at all. Chasing people that didn't, they maybe did an inquiry, and you reach out to them and you're in imposition, versus somebody that calls in because they really want to do something is just a world apart.
Yeah, I've discovered it's basically two businesses. Like working with inbound referrals that know, like, and trust me is one business. Working with strangers, it's really a completely separate business. Different processes, different systems, a lot less profitable, a lot less fun for me.
Yeah.
Um,
And you
and
have to have a high rejection for tolerance for rejection. And, I choose not to go through that pain.
right, right, yeah. And so that brings us to where you are now. And what made you sign up for Referrals While You Sleep?
It was, so, I learned about it through by referral only. So that was a warm handoff, basically. Um,
Yeah.
I
It
knew
was a
Paul.
referral.
Yeah, it was a referral. And when I heard how your system worked, I thought, okay, that's like the one piece I'm missing. I'm staying in front of people somewhat, but um, A, you keep me in front of my database more, but B, you also give me some outreach into other people that are searching for things. Um, and so once they see my information, I'm at least an option.
Right.
And so it made perfect sense to me, and the cost was reasonable, and I thought, I like this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And so that was like, what was your expectation of what would happen?
Well, as you well know, I am not technologically advanced, and so I I was a little bit nervous as to what I'd have to do. That amazed me that basically we did a phone call and a web meeting, and you took a bunch of my photos and testimonials, and then if I would have done as much video as you had suggested, it would be working even better. But I'm a little reticent to get in front of the camera, and so it just it started. It took a little bit because my Facebook presence wasn't well developed, and so you had to do your magic behind the scenes to get my stuff seen. But after that, it's just been very easy for me to work with.
Yeah. And why do you keep using it?
I don't think there's anything that I could invest that amount of money in and get 20% of the results. So it's very cost effective in my opinion. My wife and I sit down, when we're going through the bills and everything, and she'll question some, and then yours comes up, and we just
Yeah. That's I mean that's the perfect recommendation. And what would you tell a loan officer that's watching this? I mean, I'm a real estate agent. We're sold so much stuff. There's, like there's all sorts of thoughts. Like like what are some things they may be thinking, and what would you actually tell
So, first off, my observation is you said we're sold so much stuff. That's not at all the approach that I felt when I was talking to you guys. It's like you explained what it would do, and if you're interested, fine, and if you're not, that's no problem either. And so I never felt like I was being sold. And the thing that I think about is, A, I don't have the technological skill to get the exposure that you guys get for me, and B, I don't have the desire to learn it, and C, I don't have the time to invest in it. So being able to outsource that just made perfect sense to me.
Yeah. And it's not leads, it's not that lifestyle we talked about. It is making sure you're remembered by the people that already know, like, and trust you. We solve the digital amnesia problem, that it seems that people forget about you just when they need you, and we solve that.
Yes, yes. And I can tell that people are seeing things because I can see the likes coming in. You've added me to Instagram recently, and I'm seeing likes from people that I haven't had communication with for a while. So
Yeah.
I can tell that they're seeing it, and obviously they're not turned off by it because they're doing the likes. So it seems like a great solution.
What's your favorite thing about Referrals While You Sleep?
The fact that, well, the name is very appropriate. I mean, I'm reaching out to people when I'm not paying any attention to reaching out to people, and so I can be on vacation. I don't work a ton on the weekends, but people are still seeing my stuff.
Right. Yeah. And if you could, like, if this Referrals While You Sleep journey, if it was like a metaphor, if you could compare the results and the system to something, like, what would you compare it to?
Well, this may sound funny, but I enjoy traveling by train. And, you know, the reason I like traveling by train is the process is real easy. There isn't all the security and everything. You get in, and you know, I like the idea of watching the world go by with a cocktail in the dining car, and then strolling down to the cafeteria car to have dinner. It just it's very low stress, and I don't have to do a lot to get where I'm going. And so I think that would be an appropriate metaphor.
I love that. One of the things that I love is you do have a relaxed life, you are strolling, and when you get a client, you're really, really good at what you do. And you really, I say you serve the socks off them. Like, we help them remember that you're awesome.
Well, thank you.
And
I'll have to have my wife watch this.
Yeah, yeah. Charlie said I'm awesome, hun. uh, what loan officer is this? What loan officer is this? Just a slam dunk? Is this good for? And what loan officer is this not a good fit for?
So if you're one of the, I'm going to use the term adrenaline junkie. If you're an adrenaline junkie that enjoys buying leads and loves that frantic lifestyle, then this is the opposite of that. I wouldn't recommend it. And if you're somebody that enjoys serving the customer, spending your time with the customer, um, doing what we do best, and being able to outsource the majority of the marketing, that's a good fit.
Yeah, that's perfect. Awesome. And well, thank you. This was uh, great. We meet every week and talk about this, and like it seems like almost like every couple of weeks. I mean, how often do you have people reach out to you, um, with, like that builder, email, call, text? How often do you expect that happens?
So again, Charlie, it's a little hard for me to say, are they coming in from something that I've just sent them? Because I do newsletters, I do postcards, newsletters quarterly, postcards usually once a month. I send out different little, like birthday greetings and stuff like that. So I think it's a combination of being active in my database and
Mhm.
then working with you guys. So because somebody can be in my database and I'm reaching out to them for the whole time, and they think of me that way, or do they think of me because they saw me in Facebook or Instagram? I have a hard time judging that, but
Right.
the, I would say the people that I haven't had any contact with for over 2 years, the likelihood is way higher that they've seen me through Referrals While You Sleep, and that's
Yeah,
what reminded them. And so that's probably 30-40% of my volume.
that's awesome. Yeah, and I tell people referrals while you sleep is not the only marketing you should do, but it's a marketing everyone that wants a business like you have should do.
I
It
would agree
should
with
be
that.
one of your tools.
Yes.
Because I mean, for my real estate practice, I do the same thing. I've got my top 200 that I send newsletters and postcards to, and I've got friends that I'm super close with. I've got my referral partners that we talk with, but then I've got all the real estate agents I've met at conferences. Got people that I knew in high school that still live around here. Like the it's a lot of things, and it's one tool to reach all of them efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
And so would you say you have like one person a week reach out to you from everything that you do, or I mean, I know it goes up and down, but do you expect that people are going to reach out to you every week?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty disappointing week if the phone doesn't ring for with somebody calling in. And um, you know this week I've had probably 7, maybe 8 conversations with people that have reached out to me for one thing or another. And it's not always new applications. I had a guy that reached out to me saying, "Hey, I might need some equity from my house. What would you recommend?" And so we chatted, and I'm not the best fit for that product. I told him, I would call here if I was you. Um, and other times it's, "Hey, I've got a question about my tax bill." But still they're talking to me, and so
Right.
if next time they need something, I help them with their tax bill, I'm likely going to be the person that they're going to touch base with. So I'm happy with any kind of, conversation with anybody in my database or outside my database. So, um, you know, some days you start out with your game plan of things you want to accomplish, and it's a 7 phone call day, and you get to the end of the day and it's like, boy, there's nothing on my list got accomplished, and other days you get to catch up on it. So it's hard to tell, when you get up in the morning, which kind of day I'm going to have. And
Yeah.
I don't screen things through voicemail. Normally if I'm not on a call or, deep in the middle of a loan file, I'm going to answer the phone when people call. And,
Yeah.
I don't like voicemail jail myself, and I don't want to subject my customers to that.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So, I mean, if someone's watching this, can you imagine 7 to 8 inbound calls a week? With my practice, I get a few inbound calls a week. I'm in real estate practice, so I don't have to have as many deals. But that way you get to serve them and you get to help them. Hey, here's the best HELOC. Here's who you need to talk to about your taxes, because it makes you the trusted authority. And well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'll see you next week.
I appreciate the opportunity, and I didn't realize it was going to be black and white versus color here, but I guess that's age
It's the
appropriate.
before and after Andy Griffith show.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Goodbye.